Alrighty, we're all set.
Somebody want to make that?
Okay, this
motion?
is, and I need to be on board, right, as an alternate. Is that correct, Bill McBride?
You are. There's only
Yep.
three and you're stepping in as alternate. That's what you're for.
Yep. Okay, good. I'm here. Okay. Well, I'll call the meeting. I'll open the meeting of the HPB of June 14th, 2021.
So that should be by motion, which I assume that just was. It needs a second.
Second,
And then
Okay,
Marina, call the vote.
yep, Member Searle,
Yes,
Member Morrow,
Yes,
Member Harrington. Oh, I'm sorry, Member McBride, Bill's not on yet,
Yes.
and Member Pollock.
yes,
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, the next one is a motion to make someone acting chair, and Ginny has offered to do that.
I make a motion to make
I-
Jim chair.
I second that motion, Bill McBride.
Okay, Member Morrow,
what's my question? I mean, what's the question?
you are- you are voting to elect Virginia
yes.
Searle as the acting chairperson.
Yes,
Okay. Member Harrington's on. Member McBride,
Yes.
Member Pollock.
Yes,
Jeff, does Ginny vote or does she have to recuse? Or abstain? You're muted, Jeff.
No, she should vote. That's not a,
all right, okay, yes,
All right, then the motion
it's-
carries.
okay. Our first application is for 34 Church Street. Is our applicant on the, I see Caitlin.
Yes,
Nice-
hi,
Nice to see you again.
likewise.
Please describe the work that you are applying to perform.
Yes, so there is a gazebo behind the garage that we are proposing to remove. And we have some supporting documents, some of which were left out of the packet, but I do want to address whether the board has received the signed letter from the daughter of the previous owner dating the structure that it was built by her father in 1978. And secondly, an email exchange with Kathleen LaFranc of the Historic Preservation Program with New York State. Were those two documents received by the board and reviewed?
I have them. I will tell you that I have not reviewed them because I haven't looked at this new packet.
Okay,
I haven't looked at this was a new packet that came this afternoon, I believe, and I have not looked at it.
okay. So our proposal is to remove a gazebo behind the garage that, to our knowledge, based on the information shared by a tenant of, or the daughter of the previous owner, was built in 1978. And the removal would allow us to have some extra space for a patio and solve some drainage issues that have come to our attention when we moved into the property.
a question on the removal of the structure. There's obviously a concrete footing there for the whole thing. Will that stay as is, or what happens to that?
No, that will be removed as well.
Excuse me, who was speaking just then?
Jeffrey?
Okay, thank you. I was looking at the photograph, not at my screen. I
Yeah.
apologize.
So the photographs in the application will detail some of the disrepair that the current gazebo is in,
Mhm.
some rot and just general disrepair that was existing when we moved in about a year ago.
Okay.
Well, I will say that it's without any, the reason why I'm not concerned that I haven't read any documentation from the SHPO, and I'm glad to have Aaron Daniele's corroboration. The gazebo is modern and not appropriate for or in keeping with your existing historic home. So my opinion is it's fine to get rid of this, but I'm anxious to hear what other board members feel. Is there a concrete foundation? Jeffrey asked that question. Is there a concrete foundation or is there a concrete slab inside that?
Yes, there is, and it will be removed.
And this is Bill McBride. As I understand, this was erected without going through the village. There was never any approval by the village to erect this, right?
Not that was, well, Steve, you answer that question.
Yeah, no, I looked at all the files we have. This is Steve. I looked at all the files we have and the gazebo is never permitted or never mentioned.
I can speak to that a little bit also. I was first on the, what was then the APRB. I think I came on the board in about 1986 or 87. And prior to my tenure as chairman of the board, I was on the board for 2 years before I was chair. Before my tenure as chair, the APRB identified itself as a board whose approval was not required, but was just an advisory board. And for the 2 years that I was on the board, before the village board acknowledged that the ordinance requires approval, I would be very surprised that there was ever any application even made for this. 1973 was pretty early in the village for this.
1978. Just to,
78.
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I thought
Still
that
the same.
Aaron's letter said 73. I don't have my reading glasses on, but. Do any other board members have any comments? Jeff, what about you? Do you have
Nope.
concerns?
No, no concern.
Ken, do you have any concerns?
No, I don't. I took a look at it today. I mean, it definitely looks like maybe something built in the 70s and it is deteriorating. So there you go.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I would just say for the record, it sounded to me like one of the critical issues that I heard was it's not really a contributing structure,
It's absolutely not a contributing structure.
which is more important for the record than the state of repair of this.
Right.
Yep. I agree with you. I can add that to the findings of fact, Jeff, if that's all right with you.
And when you say contributing structure, I do want to be clear that that means in terms of historical relevance.
Yes.
Okay, thank you
In
for
the-
clarifying.
And those
Yes.
terms, contributing and non-contributing, are derived from the national, from the Secretary of the Interior standards and the
Yep.
way the National Register nomination forms read. Buildings are either contributing or non-contributing, and non-contributing doesn't mean they have no monetary value or that they aren't nice buildings. They are not historically contributing.
Understood. Thank you for clarifying.
I believe I'm still waiting for a motion.
I can make a motion.
That'd be great.
I make a motion that we approve the application as stated, given our date and the number of people here.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
I second Bill McBride.
I believe Ken Morrow beat you to it. So Bill McBride, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay. Member Searle,
Yes.
Member Pollock,
Yes,
and Member Morrow.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
I'd like to add these findings of fact, please, Marina.
Okay,
The structure proposed for demolition is not contributing to the historic resource. It is a modern structure built in 1978 and in significant disrepair. Demolition of this building will not create a negative impact to the historic resource.
good point.
all right.
Thank you all. I appreciate your
Thank
time.
you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good luck.
thank
Set
you very
those
much.
kids- Set those kids to work at it.
Oh, I will. She's only 2.5, so,
Oh, well, okay.
No.
Well, it's never too young to use a hammer.
okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Do we have someone representing 26 Boughton Avenue?
Yes, that is me. I'm
Oh, hi.
Brianna O'Shea.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Would you please tell us what you would like to do?
Yes. I do just want to start by saying a little bit of history on the home. So the home is owned by my family. They bought it from the McConnells about a year ago. And before the McConnells owned the home, it was owned by my great-grandmother, Elizabeth Stone.
Oh,
So
great.
my grandmother and my mother were both raised and frequented this house, and
Oh, great.
past it was sold to the McConnells, and now it's back in my family. So that's why we're going to be doing so much work to the house to make it our new home.
All right, great. Congratulations.
Thank you. So in the application, there were PDFs that were sent to you with the existing condition and the proposed work.
Mhm.
The major work would be the addition on the back of the house. It's not any additional square footage. It would just be going over the existing kitchen on the first floor. We would be adding a second floor addition that is now a small attic space.
Mhm.
So we'd be raising the roof to be matching, would be going horizontally to the current roof line. And then the proposal to change the front step walkway, it's currently, you walk towards the house and then take a right turn up the stairs. We would like to go straight onto the porch.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then on the back side of the house, you are walking again into the house from the side, and we would like to go straight into the home and add a doorway. However, it would be the original parlor door that is still in the home. They put siding over that door, and so the door is on the inside, but you can't see the door from the outside. If anyone has any questions about that, I have pictures from when my great-grandmother lived in the home, and I can show you kind of what it looked like before they put the siding over it. But the back entrance to the house where we would add a doorway is where that original door would go.
Okay. Is that door that you're planning to use, the door you're talking about that has siding covering it now? Was that opening the original back door?
No, it's actually
Okay.
on the front porch.
No, okay, and are you intending to use that door as a back door?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not concerned right now about the appearance of the door or anything like that. An exterior door and an interior door are constructed differently. And typically an interior door is only about 1 3/8 of an inch thick, and an exterior door would be 1 3/4 of an inch thick or larger. So I do not recommend using what had originally been an interior door as an exterior door.
It's not, Jenny. It's the original exterior door they covered over.
That's not what she just told me.
I know,
Steve.
I'm explaining, I'm clarifying. It's the original exterior door for the front of the house, but they covered it over with siding.
Is that correct, Bree?
Yes. If
Okay.
anyone would like to see a picture, I can share my screen and show you.
No, I don't need to see a picture. I was concerned about the durability and the physical appropriateness, not the visual appropriateness of using an interior door as an exterior door. That was my concern. I just wanted to provide information to you as the homeowner.
Okay.
Okay.
So the answer is it had been an exterior door and
Yes.
it is not
Okay.
that issue. Okay.
Bree, is that porch at the rear going to be incorporated into the house? Right now, I'm just looking at the photographs. I'm going to go back to the drawings in a minute, but right now I'm looking at the photographs.
The rear porch, that's mostly windows. There's no
Yes.
change to that right now, so that is not
It will
going to
remain the
change.
same.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to look at the drawings, excuse me, in just a minute. But as I looked at the house in person, that piece of the porch roof that's over the stairs in the doorway, it looks like that connection is very awkward. Do you have leaking there at all?
There's no leaking. You're talking about the back entrance, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes. In the
Okay.
drawing plans, there is plans to correct that. There is not currently leakage though.
Good.
I just wanted to let the board know that Mark Harrington is on the call. He's having some trouble with his audio, but he did express that he's in favor of the previous 2 applications that we've seen. He just wanted me to let you know.
All right.
Chris, hi, this is Steve. Ginny and all, just for kind of for some clarification, on the back portion of the house, the back corner there, the only physical change you're going to be able to see that they make is the acclimation of the stairs. Because right now you go and you turn right to go up the stairs, they're going to take the stairs and so you come in from the back straight into the house versus turn right and go up and turn right again into the house. So the only physical change that you will see on that lower back left portion is that the stairs are going to turn. You won't see the door at all.
That's fine. I appreciate the information, Steve.
I see it. Yeah.
Well, one thing that we have discussed as a board is that an addition should be sublimated in some way to the original structure. And in this case, and I understand why you're doing it, and I also understand the construction difficulties with what I'm going to suggest here. I think it would be more appropriate for the roof of the addition not be at the same elevation as the ridge. I'm talking about, excuse me, the ridge of the addition should not be at the same elevation as or higher than the original roof. It should be slightly lower. And there are 2 ways that could happen. One is to use a lower pitch on the addition, and the other is to just lower the ridge just slightly. It does become problematic where the new construction and the old construction meets, but that can be managed with flashing. I'm not seeing oh, sorry.
Ginny, you want to tell us your rationale for that?
Yes, I'm going to go to our guidelines, our preservation guidelines. Just a minute. I will get there. I need an extra screen to have open in front of me. Actually, I have a hard copy. Just a minute. This is what I intended to have on this part of my desk.
The only real problem with lowering is that you're going to change the gutter line that comes around.
Well, then you have 2 separate gutters. The gutter is visually insignificant compared to the roof line. Okay. On page 34 of the Historic Design Principles for the Village of Pittsford, bottom of the page, design considerations for additions. Adhere to the principle of additive massing, where an addition is secondary to the main mass of the building rather than a predominant element. Historic buildings often have smaller additions at the rear or at the sides. Several small additions can provide as much livable space as one large addition. So two things could happen. Well, three things. The roof could be lowered the same pitch as the main roof and lowered. Or the walls, the side walls of the addition could step in so that the addition is slightly narrower than the main bulk of the building. Or the roof slope could be reduced. But it's not, our design guidelines suggest that we need to have, the addition should be subjugated to the main part of the building, the existing building.
So Jenny, the purpose is to make that addition appear as though it's an addition and not part of the original design of the house. Is that correct?
Well, basically, yes. So that it's identifiable as an addition. And this is something that we've discussed on other additions fairly recently. The case in point that I'm thinking of in particular was the house at Maple and South Street. And one of the objections to the design as presented by that applicant was that the roof line continued at the same height. The mass of the addition enlarged exactly, that's not exactly what I mean, but it enlarged the whole mass of the building. An addition should be smaller than the prime structure. According to our design principles on page 34, bottom of the page, Marina, if you're needing to transcribe that.
Yep, I can quote that directly. Thank you.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Bree, who is Architectural Innovations? I should know them, but who are you working with at Architectural Innovations?
His name is Jack, or John Segrist. He had done some work across the street on 17 Boughton recently.
Okay.
Not sure if
Okay.
you're familiar with that.
I know the firm name, but I can't think who's there. Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments?
No. Jenny, would you make that motion describing what you
Well, I
just
haven't made,
described to us?
no one has made a motion, so no, I won't.
I don't, think-
believe-
well, I think
I
where we,
believe our,
go ahead, Jenny, sorry.
you want me to go ahead, Jeff?
Yes, please.
Okay. My opinion is we have two options. We can approve the application as presented, or we can, well, three, deny the application as presented if anyone else agrees with my evaluation, or we can table it and have the applicant have a discussion with her, or if her architect needs further information, I'd be happy to speak to him. You said Jeff, right? No,
Jack Segrist, he's been before this board a number of times.
right.
Yeah.
I would just clarify that it's the applicant's call as to whether or not we vote on this, or whether she would like to discuss your concerns with her architect. That's her call.
Well, I have not heard anyone else express any concerns that any statement that they share my concerns, so perhaps there's no reason for her to discuss with her architect. The other board members need to voice an opinion, please.
I go along with you on that. I really see it, and it is in
Okay.
it is in our documents.
Okay,
I mean, it's her
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I agree.
okay. So Bree, it appears that if there was a motion made to approve this application, it would not be approved. So we can table it, or, which is what I would prefer to do, to give you the opportunity to allow us to have a discussion with your architect about this if he has any concerns about it. I can probably dig up some resource information for him. You could discuss it with him, and if he feels he needs additional information, I will put together some resource information, not just from me, but from preservation resources like the National Park Service and the State Historic Preservation Office, preservation reference books and things like that.
Okay, yes,
you-
I can definitely talk to Jack, and I did
Okay.
write down a lot of the, what you were
Okay.
reading. I was quoting it, so I can explain it to him.
Okay,
Um,
Well-
happy to do that. I do have just an additional question for you.
Mhm.
Beside the elevation of the roof line, is
Mhm.
there any other things that you see in the application that we can address in this meeting that you see unfit to pass, so that we can just also work on that in that time as well?
Right.
That's very appropriate. Yeah.
well,
That's-
I have no objections to the front porch modification. So if that would be helpful, we could, as long as Jeff tells us we could consider that part of the application separately.
Okay.
Do we
no
want to
reason-
vote on that now?
There's
The
no
other,
reason-
the other
Certainly,
elements?
you can do that.
Okay. Do any board members have an objection to the front porch?
No,
Okay, would
I do
someone make-
not.
Would someone make a motion then, please?
make a
This is Bill
motion.
McBride.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I make a motion to accept the plans for the front porch as proposed.
I
I
second
second.
that.
Okay. Member Morrow,
Yes,
member Searle,
Yes.
member Pollock,
Yes,
and member McBride.
Yes,
Okay, motion carries.
Findings of fact for this portion, Marina, this approval is limited only to changes proposed to the west and north elevations of the front porch of 36 Boughton.
26.
36 Boughton. The remainder of the proposed work is being tabled. The changes as proposed are compatible with the design guidelines of the historic design principles of the Village of Pittsford, and do not create a negative impact on the historic resource.
Okay,
question.
Okay.
Hold on just one second. I'm going to try something with Mark Harrington to see if I can get him unmuted.
Okay.
While she's trying to do that, what about the rear entry too, switching around those stairs?
thank you.
I think that should wait until we see what's going to happen at the back.
yeah.
But it's only
Yeah.
first floor. The back entry is first floor only. It has nothing to do with the addition.
Second floor.
Well, since she hasn't objected to leaving that out, unless she requests that we look at that, I would rather hold on that.
That's why I'm bringing it up. See if she wanted to also get the back stairway changed along with the
Yes.
front.
If we can approve that in this meeting, that would be appreciated.
Okay,
So now is is what is now, is that a porch actually, or is it just a sunroom?
It's a set of stairs. The only thing she's changing is a set of stairs. That's all. It's nothing to do with the porch. She's not changing the porch. She's just changing the acclimation of the stairs and where the door enters the home. Right now, they come in from the side. She wants to be able to walk in straight from the back.
I guess the stairs require no posts
No, they're free. They're a free stair.
with 2 steps. Okay.
Well, we're losing a window on the opposite side, correct or not?
No. No, the only thing that's
Is there-
changed is the position of the stairs, Jenny. Turning from going in from the side to changing to come in straight from the back.
Okay, if you could let me just look at the photos and acclimate myself for a minute, I would appreciate that.
Okay,
Because I've looked at them already and I'm looking at them again. I'm going back and forth between the photos and the drawings here. On the first floor plan, the existing conditions don't show any of the windows. Is that even right?
On mine, it does.
On the proposed, I see windows, but on the point I'm making is I'm having a hard time justifying what I'm seeing on the photograph with the existing condition drawings that I'm looking at. So there are drawings in a photograph. I'm having a hard time justifying those 2 images.
Just to clarify, you are looking at the PDF that they sent you, or are you looking at the actual printout of the architectural drawing?
I don't know. We received documents, it's in a PDF, but whether I'm looking at a PDF that you sent to the village office, if that's what was replicated, I can't say for sure. No,
Okay.
the existing condition first floor plans are, oh, this is the rear, okay.
you don't have the pictures
I'm
of the house,
sorry.
Jenny?
I'm sorry, I got it. Well, on the west of, on the, let's see.
I do have a large scale drawing of this if you would like to see it. I can share it.
Jenny, do you have the picture that shows the stairs with the rear door?
Yes, I do. This is a, there are doors and windows, excuse me. There are doors and windows and things like that going in on this porch that we don't have any information on.
Let me, if I may, try to clarify. I have the full scale drawing here. There is a full scale drawing, and I think the PDF that was emailed to you may not have all of these details. I did submit this to the board. I'm not sure if anyone on the board has looked at the full scale drawing.
Only if we went to the village office.
Okay,
Yeah, I see that.
so here's the porch
Yep,
with the
I see that.
windows.
That's what's on the drawing that I have.
Yeah, so right now it enters into the porch.
Well,
What
right
we
now,
would-
right now he doesn't show a door, so he's not,
Not
Okay.
showing There's a door
okay,
and a window here.
yes, but that
Right
doesn't show, on the drawing. My
Okay.
point is, what's in the picture and what's on the drawing don't match.
Right.
Okay,
can I cut in here real quick? Because you cannot see that door from the public way at all. The door in reference that you walk up the stairs and go into the porch, you cannot
There's
see
still
the
three
door
of us.
anywhere from the public way. The only thing you see is 2 lower stairs from the public way.
I meant to bring you by the line and run in.
Hello, guys. Hello, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm just gonna step
Oh,
outside, yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
No, that's better. Yep.
Yes, this is Lisa Cove. I am so sorry, you guys. I was giving vaccine today and we had a bad patient today. So I
Oh.
literally just got home and I'm here. So I'm so
Okay, thank
sorry
you.
about
No problem.
that. Okay, so I'm here.
Okay.
Just a minute. Mark Harrington?
Yes, I'm right here.
Great. All right. We've got your audio now. Sorry, we were having audio troubles with
Good.
Mark.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Hey,
Good.
you know what?
Thank you.
I'm gonna make a proposal on the stairs. None of us seem to have all of the information we need in front of us. And why not put the decision off on this until we review the roof project?
Okay,
I would prefer that option as well.
Okay, because we're all operating from different information available to us. Okay.
okay.
All right.
Lisa, I was asked to act as chair in your absence, so I don't know if you want, I'll finish up this application and you can take over after.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Ginny.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to table the remainder of the application until the July meeting. Is there a
I
second?
think,
I'll
I
second
think,
that.
I think Mark and Lisa should not participate since they just joined the meeting.
Sure.
Then we'll
Okay.
decide what's going on after that.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
I have listened to it all the way through.
Yeah, Mark has been
All
in
right,
it.
this Phil McBride, I second that motion.
okay. Would you take a vote, please?
Sure. Member Pollock?
Yes,
Member Morrow?
Are we voting to table the proposal?
Yes.
Yep.
Member Morrow, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. And Member McBride?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries.
Lisa, we're on 49 Monroe.
Yes, I got that.
Okay,
All right. So the question now is, we have a full board, do we not? But we have 5 plus an alternate? Is that correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Bill, I think you now are no longer participating.
Okay, free to go home.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks.
Okay. All righty.
Okay.
Good luck, folks. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay, so we are tabling the backyard staircase at 49 Monroe, is that correct?
No,
no,
this is Joseph Rockstrom. No, that I'm just coming out to speak. That was the prior
Okay.
matter.
So that was Boughton that we're
yes,
tabling?
there was Boughton, and we
right, I'm sorry.
tabled the addition at the rear because the design guidelines for the Village of Pittsford call for adhering to the principle of additive massing, which is how it's stated in the design guidelines.
Okay.
It's as we discussed at the house on the corner of Maple and South a couple of months ago.
Okay, and I'll look at the minutes after the meeting. Thank you.
I-
Okay,
May I just ask one quick question before you move forward? I just want to clarify so that I am prepared for the July meeting.
Mhm.
You would like me to have the architect redraw the addition so that it is smaller than the main house. And on those drawings of the existing house, you would like me to add that there is a window and a door on the back porch. Although I do want to clarify that the window and the door would be staying the same. We would just be changing the direction of the stairs, and that
Okay.
that
Yes.
window and door
okay,
should be added to the existing drawing.
Yes,
And then
very
the
helpful.
addition would have different height for the roof, and then that needed to be submitted before the meeting in July. Is that correct?
Right, but
Okay.
yes, but again, I'm gonna suggest that your architect can contact me through the Village of Pittsford if he has any questions before he starts to draw anything else for you.
Yes,
Nope.
okay,
Don't let him put his finger on his mouse to draw anything else until you feel that he understands, and he feels he understands what we're interested in. Because that's a waste of your money, and I don't want to do that.
okay.
Okay,
I just want to clarify, when he calls, who does he ask to speak with?
well, I'm not at the village office. He can send an email to me at my Village of Pittsford email address, which is vsearle@villageofpittsford.org. And Searle, it's just
.com.
vsearle, and Searle is S as in Sam, EARL, just like Pearl.
B. Searle, okay.
at
Thank you so much.
villageofpittsford.org.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
And I will definitely have him reach out to you.
Sure.
And hold on, just to clarify that email address, it's .com, correct?
Oh, .com.
Yes.
Sorry,
Okay.
.com.
Okay,
Thank you, Lisa.
sure.
I
Okay,
just
thank you.
click email addresses come up, so I'm sorry.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you, thank you. We look forward to seeing the new drawing. Okay, number 3, 49 Monroe Avenue, backyard staircase replacement. I do hear that the owner is available for us. Is that correct?
He was
Is he
here a
on?
minute
He was
ago.
here a minute ago.
Maybe he's on mute. Are you on mute? From
It
49?
was Rockstrom, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I don't see him anymore. He's left the meeting. Hold on. I no longer see him in attendance.
Okay, so there may have been a standing because I spoke and said that we tabled him. So I hope he didn't think that we, because then he said, no, he's here. So we could move on to 31 Courtney, and then if somebody can try to get him on the phone again, just put him on next.
I'll try and get a hold of him right
Okay,
now.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Steve.
you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Steve.
So we're gonna move forward to 31 Courtney Circle for siding replacement. Is the owner here? The owner for,
Yes, I'm here.
okay, hi. And- and you-
Joe Rockstrom just came back.
oh,
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Joe? So 31 Courtney Circle, I'm sorry, we're just gonna take Joe Rockstrom for the staircase at Monroe Avenue, and then we'll put you on right after as per our agenda, okay?
No problem.
Okay, so Joe Rockstrom. Are you here? You might
He's
have to,
muted. Mr. Rockstrom, you're muted. You have to. There you go.
Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay, good evening. Sorry for the telecommunication problems.
No
This is
problem.
Joe Rockstrom,
Yes,
the owner of 49 Monroe. My
okay,
application is for the replacement of the back staircase of the property.
yes,
This prior staircase was one of concrete. I've owned the property for 6 years. It has fallen into disrepair, both cosmetically being an issue, as well as structurally safety being an issue.
okay,
The replacement is wooden, which mirrors the front of the home. I believe you have pictures of the crumbling of the prior staircase.
yes,
I have tried to successfully patch over the years, and it is a vertical pothole, if you will. It does not hold up well. The wooden staircase mirrors the front staircase in the north facing of the house.
so Mr. Rockstrom, how long have you owned the property?
6 years.
So do you think that cement staircase was original?
I do not know.
Okay. All right.
Lisa,
Yes,
I'm looking at that photograph. The foundation of the house is stone, is it not, Mr. Rockstrom?
Yes, I could see it.
It is.
In that case, I would guess that the concrete is not original, that the back was probably originally wood,
Yeah, that's what I would guess. Well,
given the
okay.
stone foundation, and it looks like it's nicely tuck pointed as well.
Yes, I would have to agree with you, Ginny. I just wasn't sure if Mr. Rockstrom knew that. Okay. All right. Does anybody on the board have any questions for the applicant? Why don't we start with Mark Harrington?
I think it's, having been into houses that require significant work, like, this particular thing, that I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant, Mark?
Pardon me?
Do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay,
I
let's
think
move
it's
on.
very well explained.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can we move on to Ken Morrow?
I'm okay with the proposed change.
Okay. Ginny?
I don't have an objection to the application on its face. I'm just wondering if any of the original wooden material is still usable and could be salvaged and reinstalled.
There is none available, nor have I seen any in 6 years.
How old, okay, how old are these pictures of the back stair and how are people getting in and out of the house right now?
The current concrete in the black and whites are what the prior was here recently.
So when you took off the concrete, you tossed all that wood railing system?
It was rotten.
Okay.
It totally had dry rot going through both the spindles
Okay,
and the banister.
okay. There are ways to take care of that problem, and if you want to discuss it with me, I'll be happy to it outside of the meeting. But wood does not have to rot. There are ways to be sure it stays dry and it doesn't rot at the bottom of the posts. I have no objection. My only comment is that you're showing some lattice under the porch, and you're showing diagonal lattice the frame for the lattice is kind of odd. Usually the frame is a separate frame that would be placed interior to the skirt board on the landing. The supports, the vertical supports for the post extensions, if you will, and the bottom. So personally, I would like to see square lattice set in a frame, and the frame fitted into the space between the skirt and the posts.
Any comments from the applicant? Joe,
I believe it's a moot point. There are bushes adjacent to it, so nobody would really see it.
Do you have a problem with going forward with Ginny's suggestion? It's really just a design thing. I mean, I don't think it's going to be any difference in cost.
Well, it would be a little difference in cost.
It would? Well, you're just framing it. You're framing the lattice. And you're switching.
Put a frame around the lattice and don't go to Home Depot and buy diagonal lattice.
This is not a Home Depot project.
It doesn't look like it to me, which is why I'm saying don't get that kind of lattice. What the work that's there, the wooden structure looks very nicely done.
Joe, do you have any lattice in any other parts of the house?
Not that I know of, no.
Isn't there any at the front porch?
I'm looking at a picture to see.
Yeah, me too. I'm scrolling down to that.
Yeah, so you can see there's bushes, so I can't tell what's underneath the skirt of that front porch, unless it's just concrete.
I don't believe there was, well, there might be a stone foundation there.
Yeah, I can't see. Wait. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Joe, would you be opposed to framing that lattice and making it square instead of diamond shape. Because the square is more traditional with that era.
Fine.
Okay,
May I put a question forward on this, please?
sure. Is this Mark?
Yes, indeed. Sorry.
Okay.
When I'm looking at the wood construction that's going to go onto the door, it hits me, and I can't say that definitively it's one way or the other, but it looks like the rise on these stairs, the new ones that are planned for, are a bit lower than what exists, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But I'm just wondering if the riser on that is exactly the same thing. Then I had one other question, which was on the photograph that I'm looking at. You've got some nice tile work on that, and I'm wondering if you gave consideration to using that over and above the work that's shown on your page 55.
The answer is no. It really created an unsafe situation because it would become dislodged, and there was no way really to the person entering or leaving whether it was attached, which was one of the issues.
I see. Okay.
Mark brings up a good point. Are the rise in all of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the landing, are they all the same height? It looks
Yes.
like they are.
They
Okay.
they have to be by code, but it looks like the landing doesn't have a nosing on it.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lip.
Right, it's called a nosing on the stair
Right.
and the landing itself.
Mhm.
But that's up to Steve. I believe that's a code requirement, but that's Steve's purview.
Right.
Okay. Can I just ask Jeff Pollock, do you have any comments or suggestions or questions for the applicant?
I take it that this wood will be, will you paint that somehow, or will be left natural, or what's the intention?
Painted, similar, same as the front.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell on the number of spindles in the railing if it matched the front, but it seemed to me, from what I could tell, it was quite close. So I'm okay.
Okay. So if we have no more questions, or if the applicant doesn't wish to say anything else, can Ginny, since you're gonna do some statement of the adjustment of the application, if you could make the motion?
Sure. I approve to, I make a motion to approve the application as presented with one exception. The exception is that the lattice that is under the landing and the stair will be framed, and that the lattice will be rectangular, horizontal and vertical rather than diagonally applied.
I second.
Okay, Member Pollock,
Yes.
Member Morrow,
Yes,
Member Harrington,
Yes.
Member Searle,
Yes,
and Chairperson Cove.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. That's gonna look great.
I'll
Thank
add-
you.
I'll add findings of fact, Marina. This application conforms to the requirements of our historic design principles of the Village of Pittsford and is in keeping with and appropriate to the style of the house and represents no negative impact to the historic resource.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to move forward on our next application. That is for 31 Courtney Circle for siding replacement. Our applicant is here. Is our applicant here for 31 Courtney Circle?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, great. So it looks like, I just have a quick question, because this was a question that a couple of our members had. So there's missing siding on this house, obviously. Your intention is to remove all of the siding and replace it with a vinyl siding, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so have you thought about just replacing the missing siding to match the original siding that's on the house?
It's something I thought about. Ben is on here as well. Would it be helpful to hear from him, or should I take it?
It doesn't matter, whoever can answer our questions is fine.
Oh, Lisa,
Yeah,
if I may, David, just jump in here. The reason I know we met a month ago. So you understand that David had a fire. We have to replace the windows in his house. He has striated cedar shingles as his siding. In order to remove and replace all those windows, we're going to have to remove a certain amount of that cedar. We also have to replace the stuff that was burnt and damaged. The issue is that cedar siding is however many years old, has been worn by the sun. It buckles, it bows. So for us to patch that in around the windows is going to stand out considerably, and it's going to look ugly. It's going to look really bad. And what we would like to do is to make the house uniform by putting cedar siding, tearing it all off and putting cedar siding instead of patching it in, which I don't think anyone's going to like the look of.
Okay. Did you think about replacing it with wood siding?
I did. Unfortunately, it's out of the budget completely. Cedar is considerably more expensive in material and in labor to remove and replace. So unfortunately, David, just hasn't got too many options. He's either left with an ugly looking house or we need to go within his budget. And I think we can just about stretch to get him vinyl siding. We're working off an insurance claim. So that's what it is.
So my understanding though is that this is an insurance claim. The insurance has to replace in kind.
Right, but David is at his policy limits, so he has reached his policy limits for the house. So there's no more money to get out of the policy. We've been through code and yeah, we've reached all our limits.
Okay, so does somebody want to chime in on that? I mean, I that was just my understanding. I didn't know you could reach a limit with something like that, but I mean, I don't know everything about insurance either, so. Does somebody want to?
I have a comment and a question. Regarding that existing siding, I'm aware of a number of houses, not only in that neighborhood, but on Sunset Boulevard, that were built about that same time with very similar siding. And it was not great siding when it went on. And the houses that I'm aware of, the siding has failed in the way that Mr. Cook described of the existing remaining undamaged siding, buckling and being problematic in general. The application says you're putting on textured mastic with a 10-inch reveal. What is textured mastic, and are you changing the material you're proposing?
Mastic is simply the manufacturer, yeah. So David will pick his color.
Well, we don't care about color. I want to know what material. If you're
It's vinyl.
Textured mastic then is a manufacturer. It's not a material type. It's not. You're not, and you're saying a 10-inch reveal, and I don't know of any vinyl siding that comes in a 10-inch reveal.
No, the existing is 10-inch reveal. That's what was on the application. It asks for existing. This is the siding he's proposing. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see, but I'm going to say again, this is not what is shown or stated on the application.
Yes, Jenny, yes, it is. It says, what is the reveal of existing siding? And I wrote down 10-inch. That's what's on the application.
Proposed and existing. You're telling me I know the existing, I do not know the proposed.
The proposed is a 4-inch reveal.
Okay, but that's not on the application, Steve. That's
All
my
right.
point.
All right, but, all right, I'm showing you right now what it is. I'm sorry.
Okay, but that's a huge difference, Steve. I mean, that's more than half of a difference in reveal.
That's a very large difference. Mr. Cook or Mr. Bakersfield, is the existing siding textured? Is that,
Yes.
okay,
It's referred to as striated, so it's a vertical texture.
yes. I know what striated means.
Good.
Well, regardless of the reveal, one concern with text that I have in particular with, aside from vinyl siding, one issue I have is a textured siding, because good wood siding is typically smooth. I know that there are striated sidings such as what is already on the house, but that's a manufactured type siding and mass produced in a way that typical clapboard siding, which vinyl siding is intended to imitate, is not. The only time you see texture in a clapboard siding is when the wood beneath the paint is in very poor condition. So in general, in my opinion, textured siding that's intended to imitate clapboard is inappropriate. But I think the bigger issue here is the huge change in reveal between the existing 10 inches and the proposed 4. That house has a very horizontal line. It's one story, that wide reveal, long sections of siding now gives a very different, has a very different appearance to 4-inch clapboard. What, are there no cement board sidings that come in that larger reveal, Mr. Cook?
The cement board siding, there's a product called Everlast, I believe, and it's still a vinyl, but it has a larger exposure. And with we're talking the same price. They're very, very expensive to get these. So it's a budget issue for sure. But yeah.
Well, I would, Jeff, I'd like to ask you a question. In my opinion, the board should vote on appropriateness first. Based on the application, and the application should be reviewed and either approved or denied based on appropriateness and compatibility. If then there is an issue with budget, then the applicant can take a hardship and does that make a hardship application? And does that hardship application come back to the HPB again, or does that go to the Board of Trustees?
Hardship goes to back to the HPB.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, just so the board understands what I'm getting at, if we as a board agree that the 4-inch siding is inappropriate, that the reveal is inappropriate, an option would be to disapprove the application, but then the owner has the opportunity to come back and appeal on a hardship basis. I understand Mr. Bakersfield is in a hurry to get his home put back together again. I can tell that the fire was quite devastating. I've been by the house a couple of times, and I can't imagine. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I either have to leave the meeting for a second to put my dog out or get my husband to come so she's not barking. So an option would be to deny the application as presented and have him come back. And I understand it's an honest hardship. It's a financial hardship. If he has reached the limit of his insurance, his fire insurance claim, then he has to come up with money to finish the project. And Lisa, it depends entirely on your policy, whether or not you have your house insured for a replacement cost, which is typically not the case.
So even, I guess.
I have a, sorry, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Lisa, please.
Well, I guess I'm just questioning, I mean, again, this is probably an education insurance, but if an insurer is going to insure a property in a preservation district, like what Pittsford is, I would think that they have no ability to not do it in replacement in kind. But
It's-
again, I don't,
It depends entirely on the policy that you purchase. It has nothing whatever to do with an insurance company's obligation because we're the homeowners in an historic district.
okay.
Typically, at least in my personal experience, the amount of the value of the insurance policy is typically linked to the amount of the loan you take out on your mortgage. Because the bank wants to be paid back. They don't care what happens to the house. If you lose everything,
None of this really matters in terms
it
of,
doesn't matter.
yeah, doesn't matter.
Okay, all right. So let me ask, Mark Harrington had a comment. Did you want to go ahead, Mark?
Yeah, I just, when did the, I'm sorry, I don't understand the background that well. When did the fire take place? And when did the cycle start with the insurance company to rectify?
You know what, Mark, I'm gonna just butt in here. Again, I think that's irrelevant for us right now. What we need to
Okay.
do, we need to vote based on what Ginny had talked about, the appropriateness of what they want to do. If if the applicant needs to go further into his own personal finances and the whole insurance thing, that's something that he can claim hardship on, and we can do
Sure.
that later. But we right now have something that we need to make a motion on to vote. So let's try to talk specifically on the changes that he needs to make, or he'd like to make, likes to his house. And then we can move forward financially if he needs to do that. Okay. So is
Ben
there
would
any,
like to
Fair
speak.
enough.
Ben would like to speak.
Ben? Okay.
It looked like you, Steve, wanted to say something.
Pardon?
Did you want to say something first? You had your hand up.
Yeah, I did want to say something because it's automatically assumed that we can deny it, and I guess that reference, and I hate to, I gotta be careful here, but you had the option of proving it too. So you
Correct,
got,
right,
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Right.
you gotta, you can't lay the just denial on the
Correct.
table here.
It will go to vote. Correct. Yes, Steve. Thank you for
Thank you.
clarifying. Yes.
If I may just make a case in point, is that going through the neighborhood, you are aware that there are many other houses with 4-inch exposure vinyl siding. So I just want to bring that up. Is it fair to my client here, David, that he gets denied this when obviously there must have been some approval at some point for vinyl siding on other properties? So I do just want to make that point. Forgot what else I was going to say. So in keeping with the feel of the neighborhood, unfortunately, you know, the feel is already at the point where it is now.
Sure. And I appreciate that. And we get that comment almost daily. And just to let you know where we come from, we treat every property individually. We can't compare what's happened in the past because, you know, the boards change. We didn't have a preservation board for a while. So things have changed. We as a board have to act on what our policies are right now. And we have to treat every home differently as far as, because they are different homes. So even though we have the same regulations for our preservation district, we can't say, well, this person did that one time, so we should be allowed to, because that would never suffice for moving forward. So but I do appreciate that. And I understand that's frustrating for many people. Yes. I haven't heard.
Sorry.
I just want to hear from Ken Morrow, because Ken, I was wondering, do you have anything to add, or do you want to ask the applicant anything?
Well, yeah, I went by and looked at the house today. And so it seems like the fire went from the left end to the right end, but not through the roof. You know, just looking at the house from the outside, meaning from the road, you know, there was a limited number of shingles. Your contractor is pointing out that in order to put the windows in, you would need to remove shingles. And they're probably couldn't be put back. Is that correct?
Correct.
They're fragile.
Yeah,
Uh,
as Jenny mentioned, they're very fragile, very brittle. They've been warped in the sun for many, many years, so there's no hope of putting them back.
And then on the one side of the house, which I couldn't quite see from the road, but I see in the photos in the presentation, there's actually quite a few shingles missing. So I was hoping that you'd be able to replace shingles with shingles, but you know, it's not clear that that's possible. So so what options does that leave? Either a very expensive wood shingles or vinyl?
Kenny, if I may, the point is if we could probably in our budget get enough cedar shingles to replace what is being damaged, but the look of it is just going to be rough, lack of a better word. The shingles have been on there for many years. They've buckled under the sun. They're in bad shape. If you put brand new shingles in there, even when we paint the whole house, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb all the way bordering the windows where it's missing, and it's going to look ugly. So again, budget issue. I would rather take all those shingles down, go over it with siding. You know, we could just about at a stretch get that done for Mr. Baskyfield, but to patch them in would not be a good look.
Even though they've got that like granular look to them?
Yes, absolutely. They warp, they buckle, they curve, you know, and when you put them in, they're going to be flat, they're going to be straight, and you're really going to be able to see it from. Yeah.
So I think what this is Lisa Cove. I think what bothers me most is the reveal change, because whatever material you use, that the change of that line of the house is going to be significantly different. I mean, it's going to look like a whole different house. So my question is there anything that you can get with a 10-inch reveal that might be more reasonable?
I don't know that they make it in vinyl. They do make a product called Everlast. It's a vinyl still, but it's a vinyl clapboard. Great product, but probably 3 or 4 times the price of a 4x4 vinyl siding. So yes, there are products that we could get larger reveals, but not within the budget that we've got.
Excuse me, is the board entertaining chat comments from other participants?
I did see a message from Lily talking about this being in a post-war era neighborhood. And yes, we do understand that, Lily. However, we still need to encourage, and vinyl we very rarely will use vinyl siding. I mean, we've been able to do vinyl windows, but when it comes to a full vinyl siding, no matter whether it's post-war or not, it wasn't originally in vinyl siding. So we always try to go with in kind first. But thank you for that. Is there something else, Marina, besides that?
Nope, just Lily and it looked like Peggy Brzee expressed the same sentiment.
About the post-war neighborhood?
Yes, and Lily says, I see, she understands.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Jeff Pollock,
Yes.
can you give us any insight on what you're thinking?
Well, so it's quite a dilemma. I mean, obviously, they want the best look possible. I just, I'm really perplexed on the materials, which is a tough situation. I don't know if something like hardy board would be acceptable or not. Have that been looked into?
Using an exterior hardy board. I just think
It's a textured, some concrete content of some sort, but it does have a little variation to it, but not much.
They actually make smooth hardy board as well. But I think there is a larger reveal product. Maybe that's what we're talking about, Jeff, that has some kind of. But I believe
I
there,
don't know. I don't know the specs on it for
Seems-
something like this, but it's, I don't know if it's something to consider.
it seems to me over the years, we've seen a larger reveal hardy board.
Yes, I agree.
So that's my thought.
Okay, so it sounds like it sounds like most of us are concerned about the reveal being
Steve-
quite different, more than
Steve has
double.
his hand up.
I also,
Okay.
I'm just curious, and this is just a question, I guess, for Ginny or the board. I thought if a product was available at the time of the build, it is also a valid replacement in a home.
No, that's not the standard of the board.
I thought that was the standard of the Secretary of Interior, that the product was available at the time of build, it is also a valid use for a structure.
Not for replacement. It always goes with in kind first.
All right.
Thank you, though. Is there anybody else who would like to comment, including the applicant or the contractor? Would you like to make any more comments? It sounds like we're going to need to take this to vote. As Ginny had said prior, if for some reason it does not pass, you kind of have a feel for kind of the thoughts of the board. You are more than welcome to go back and look at other materials or claim a hardship hearing. So if everybody feels comfortable, we can move forward on voting for this unless the applicant would like to say anything else.
Actually, if you wouldn't mind, I'm really concerned about this hardship aspect of it. Do you have because obviously I just need to rebuild my house. In terms of reaching policy limits, I would say the insurance policy I was sold at the time of buying the mortgage, I never actually was talked through that. I just assumed that obviously the bank has an interest in making sure it doesn't lose its money. Speaking to my independent adjuster, he advises I'm not underinsured, but when I reinsure, firstly, it should be with a different company. And, you know, given that on the building insurance, we hit policy limits immediately, but the house is still standing. It's just the inside that is completely gutted, plus that exterior damage. My new policy should certainly reflect that, just in case a total loss was to occur. I'm just concerned because contents are difficult as well. That, you know, not knowing anything about this hardship board, whether I'm still going to be out of pocket on this, you know, literally everything in that house was lost. I'm replacing absolutely everything, possessions. And so I just have to be very, very careful with money. I mean, I never expected this to happen, but it has. And I know an awful lot more about insurance than I did at the end of January. So just really want to make sure, basically at the end of it, I can afford to have that house basically put right.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, and I can speak for myself. I really feel for you, and I'm very sorry that had happened, and it must be totally devastating. I could tell in your voice how devastating this is. And we do want to work with you, and we are going to try to do everything we can to work with you. I just think that there may be some room that you and your contractor might be able to do a little research and see if there's something a little bit more compatible with what is originally there. And we could also kind of table this and give you some time to see if you can do a little research on that. I know that Ginny's a great resource, and maybe Steve could also assist in giving you some avenues to look into for a product that might be a little bit closer of a reveal, because I think that's going to be the biggest issue. Does anybody else have any comments on that?
Well, I would like to just be sure everyone is clear about the reason why I brought up the hardship issue. I feel very strongly about the reveal. On the other hand, I also feel very strongly for Mr. Baskeyfield. He's suffered a huge loss. He is rebuilding not only his home, but his life, I'm quite certain, because certainly I would be if I had lost my home to a fire. And the only way that allows the board to approve something that we might otherwise deny
Hey, hang on a second.
is to allow for the applicant to put up siding that we don't necessarily approve of, that's not compatible, that's not appropriate, is because of his financial hardship. I put forward that option as a means to allow Mr. Baskeyfield to move forward with what he can afford in a way that leaves the HPB in a legally defensible position.
Yes, I appreciate that, Ginny. That's very well said. Exactly. Does anybody else, any of the other board members want to comment on what Ginny had said? Well, I guess, Ginny, so the question I had proposed was, does the applicant want a little more time
so much.
to look into maybe other skills?
Sorry, this is just my bit now. It's a meeting.
If you're not talking, please just mute yourself, please, so we don't have any background noise. That would be great.
Sorry.
It's okay, no problem.
I'm really sorry. Some things I'm on my phone and the speaker stopped working for some reason. I've got to hold it up to my ear. So sorry, I can hear again now.
Okay.
Can I just pass these to you?
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, so I guess where we stand, and Jeff, we might need some assistance here, is we can go forth and put out a vote. And if the project as submitted is not approved, then the applicant does have the hardship hearing avenue, or he can come back and change the materials to be more appropriate for what we're looking for, or for what the house needs. Or we can table this and give the applicant some time to take a look at other materials that might be more suitable. So we're going to have to put it in the lap of the contractor and the applicant to see which way they want to proceed.
Contractor's got his hand up again.
Okay, Patrick?
Talk too much. My question is, what is a hardship hearing, and does that mean that you approve it based on the applicant's hardship that we already know?
So Jeff Turner, can you go forth and explain that a little bit better?
Yeah, it's all laid out in our statute. And there's a bunch of different factors you look at. Generally, it focuses on the hardship of the property and you do appraisals and all that sort of thing. It's a very complicated process, but part of it is, in fact, probably, without reviewing that section of the code, which is very detailed, it is going to, part of it is going to be dealing with the hardship to the applicant. But I would suggest that if every stone has not been not turned with regard to possible larger reveal siding that is within your budget, that would be worth your while to take a good hard look at that issue rather than pursuing the hardship avenue. I mean, I would say the hardship avenue is an avenue of last resort. It's not easy, very complicated, but it is there as a safety valve. But to go that route, you would want to be sure that you exhausted every alternative that's within your budget.
if I may, thank you for explaining. I think that either way, David is going to be over his settlement budget. He's going to have to find a way even to pay for the vinyl siding. I'm just doing a quick look if there was hardy board that I didn't compare the price of. It looks square footage price to be well over what I would get a vinyl for. So I just want to throw this out before we get to vote that David is probably already going to be well over his budget. I mean, we know he is. So any more increase to material, and this is why vinyl siding is common, because it's the best product for money, not only in material but also in labor, because it's a little easier to go up than shingle. So that being said, we all know that Mr. Baskerville is gonna have to apply for this hardship thing if it's not granted. Otherwise, we patch it in, and then Mr. Baskerville gets a house that doesn't look as good as it was before his fire, and you guys all have to look at it as well. So that's my final 2 cents.
Steve has his hand up.
Hey, Ben?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have the mastic book here.
Yes, sir.
It has an single 8-inch smooth in it.
Okay. All right. It's definitely something we could look at. I mean, I don't know what the cost on that is compared to the 4x4.
Right, but I'm just saying there is an option in this display for a single 8-inch smooth.
Sure.
Well, you'd think that the labor involved might be half if you're installing 8-inch reveal instead of 4-inch reveal. So
No,
I would
the
expect
4 is a double
reduction
4.
labor.
Jenny, the 4 is a double 4. It's still an 8-inch panel, just it looks like 2 4-inch together.
Oh, well, okay. Then visually, it's still a 4-inch.
No, it's an 8-inch. Yes, visually it's a 4, but the other panel that's on this display would be a full 8-inch. That's a double 4, and then the other panel would be the same thing, but just without this.
Okay. Well, I would want to see a sample.
So it sounds like there is some room to do a little research. So I would highly recommend you exhausting the material listing for your project before you move forward with the hardship hearing. So if there's some room there, if Steve was able to pull it up while we're online here, then I think that they have a little room to just do a little research. I think that's going to be in the best
If I might, there's also going to be an expense in the hardship application itself, because it does call for appraisals, and appraisals are going to cost you money. So, there's going to be an expense, and I mean, that's something to think about.
Well, that's one. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just
go ahead, Ben.
Yeah.
My apologies, but I maybe if we could get approved that if we came up with some vinyl product, whether it was an 8 or a 4x4, that we could do this. My concern at this point now is that if we go away without an approval, then we have to visit the drawing books again, and we want to get windows in, we want to get siding done. You know, a lot is in the balance, and I want to get Mr. Baskerville back in his house. I don't know how often you do these meetings and then the hardship. So time now. So I don't know if we can approve an alternative material, i.e. vinyl, and then we can go away and say, hey, okay, maybe we can do this within your budget.
Steve?
I'm sorry, this is Mark Harrington. I just have a quick question on that. I tend to look at what on a total perspective basis, what something like this, which is so tragic, would actually cost. And I'm just wondering if you have any sort of for you not to be held by this in any way, shape, or form. But what do you think to get the structure back into habitable shape? It would take to do soup to nuts what you're looking at right now.
I don't understand the
roughly.
question.
Very roughly.
Look, I don't know that that's all that relevant to our situation. I mean, first of all, that's confidential information for the applicant.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Steve, when you were talking about siding, were you referring to that book that you
Yeah.
have?
Yes,
Ginny, that book, there's a physical sample, right, that she can look at in there?
yeah,
Okay, so she can come into the village office and see the samples that you're speaking about.
right. And that's what I was gonna ask. Would the board be willing, or if it was an 8-inch smooth? I realize it's a 10-inch on a house, but the largest vinyl they're going to make is an 8-inch. Anything over that, first off, vinyl buckles. I've done hundreds of siding jobs over the years. But would the board be willing, if they could find an 8-inch vinyl smooth of this product, the same product, would that be acceptable to the board?
I'm gonna have to say, just as far as keeping things consistent, I mean, I don't have trouble with rehearing this. We can pull together another meeting, but I can't vote on something that's possible. We've got to know what we're doing, what we're voting on. So I would rather have you do some research, bring us the material that you think is gonna work, that we can vote on. And again, we can call a meeting quicker than waiting till the next July meeting. But we can't just vote on something that's possible. So,
So Ben, Ben, if you could find the 8-inch smooth, if that was acceptable, and get a sample of it, you could go ahead with the windows and do what you gotta do. Because either way, you're gonna cut siding away for the windows, whether you replace the cedar or whether you put in vinyl in. So the work could commence. The siding is basically the last issue of how to take care of the outside and seal it in. So, if there's an 8-inch smooth, I think the board, from what they're saying, the reveal is a big issue. So if you could find, or if it was in the same price range, 4 versus 8-inch smooth, that might work for you.
Yes. I'm just trying to think now if the windows I order will have a built-in J regardless, probably. So I'm just trying to figure this out, if my material of siding affects the type of window that I order. So
It sounds like you have some research to do. And as Lisa said, we can have a meeting before the regular July meeting.
okay, so if you feel comfortable, we can table this until you do a little research and get us some materials that have a closer reveal. It looks like that's the biggest issue, but I would also, look into maybe the cost of some of the other products, the non-vinyl products as well, just to make sure that you're covering all your bases. And we'll formulate through Steve another meeting to get this moving as fast as possible.
okay,
Hey, Ben?
okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Do we need a motion to table?
Not really. Just
Okay.
gonna, you got the
Okay.
applicant's permission. We'll-
Okay,
Okay, thank you very much, Ben. Good luck, you guys, and we look forward to hearing and helping you get this project done.
Okay,
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
thank you.
All right. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are going to move forward with our next applicant, and that is for 29 Washington. We've got a fence replacement. Do we have our applicant with us?
I'm here.
Okay. So Maria, it looks like you want to replace a existing wood fence with a vinyl fence.
Exactly. I have a wood fence totally in my backyard, not seen from the road or any, that doesn't affect the outcome of the house. I have a problem with squirrels on this property. I don't know why they like my backyard, but they consistently sit on the fence and they chew it. So all of the tops of the woods are chewed, if you can see in the picture there. And that's all done by squirrels.
Yes.
And what I would like to do is replace it with a wood grain fence that you can't even tell that it's vinyl. It looks like wood. You have a sample attached to my application. I think it's glued to the left-hand corner of the application. And also, I sit a little higher than the Bauer property, so the water kind of runs underneath the fence and it's rotting all of the posts that I have to constantly have them re-cemented in. I've had that done 3 or 4 times, so I'm hoping with the vinyl, they won't deteriorate the way the wood is deteriorating.
So can I just ask a question? I was at the property today to look at it, and
Okay,
you have a wood fence that goes on that side, and then the other side, which is the same design, the same
Right.
material. Then you've got
right.
the fence, which is the rec center's fence, correct?
Yeah, that they put in. The fence on my right side was put in 15 years ago. The fence on the left side, I just got approval 3 years ago to replace the chain link that separated us from the neighbors that were there. Eventually, I'd like to replace that also with the vinyl so that it's all consistent and everything is symmetrical. I'm a very neat person and I like everything perfect. So the fact that this fence looks like it's falling down, it just bothers me.
So you're asking to just replace this one with the vinyl?
Just this one at this time, and then I guess have to go before you again to replace the other one, but that one's only 3 years old and there's just minimal eating by the squirrels on that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna open this up to the board members. Does anybody have any comments that you want to make?
I just want to say I have thousands of squirrels at my house, actually. They're the fattest squirrels in the county, I'm sure. But mine, I've never seen any squirrels around here eat wood.
Well,
That's very odd.
I know, the carpenter that came here, I asked him what was causing the deterioration, if you see at the top of each pier of wood there, and he said it's squirrels and other animals biting it, so, or sharpening their teeth on it. I have never looked out my window and saw a squirrel up there sharpening their teeth or eating up there, but I have to take his word for it because I don't know anything about it. And I just know that I paint this thing every 3 years, which is an expense. I've just recently become a widow, and I'm trying to get the house as easy as possible because I'm not here for the winter. And I just want to make sure everything is set for the winter when I leave.
Marina, the images I'm looking at are from your screen, is that right?
Those are the pictures I submitted, yes.
Yeah, but I think I'm seeing them. Are they coming from your computer or?
No.
They're from my computer.
Yeah,
They're
I
from my
don't know where-
computer, yeah.
Oh,
Marina,
okay.
can you zoom in on one of the tops of
The bite marks,
The-
yeah. see?
the fence pieces?
Let's see.
Because what it looks like to me is that the butt end of the board, the cut end of the board, it looks more like rot to me.
That's what I thought it was. So when the contractor from New York Fence came over and looked at it, he said, no, this has been chewed. And that's what I thought it was originally. Excuse me.
Also, looking at the condition of the wood below there, it's splitting. The wood is splitting lengthwise, vertically along the grain lines.
I see that.
Well, I don't disagree that you need a new fence.
Thanks, I do,
But
I do. And
I would
I,
think there'd be carpenter ants there.
I'm sorry, what?
I was gonna say, it looks like a picnic for carpenter ants as well.
Something. I know I need a new fence. I would like, if possible, to replace it with something that requires less care on my end because I'm gone most of the winter. I would like, it's called wood grain vinyl. You can't even tell that it's vinyl if you look at the pictures that I submitted with the application. It's high end, it's really nice. New York Fence will do it if it's approved. And then eventually I want to do it on the other side, separating me from those neighbors. And it's just, I wanted to do one at a time rather than both of them at the same time.
What do you know about the durability of vinyl fencing in cold weather?
All I know is that it requires less care. He said it's guaranteed for the life of the fence. I don't know what that means, or I guess until I sell my home, but I'm not going anywhere. So I don't know. He presented it to me than the wood because it seems like I'm painting this every 2 and 3 years because, as I said, I like it to look nice in my backyard. And that's all I can really say. If I can't do the vinyl, then I will have to replace it with wood again. And then it'll involve being left for a year unpainted because you have to let it bleed, and then painting it next year, the gray, to match my home. Where the vinyl comes in gray automatically. That's a color that you can pick.
So, okay, so I'm just gonna ask for the rest of the board members to chime in here. Ken Morrow, do you have any comments or any questions for the applicant?
I just feel that the wood is the standard in the village and that there's wood on all sides of the property right now. And it's a very nice house. I think it would be a shame to put vinyl in.
But the fact that you can't see it from the front of the house, no one would know that this fence was back there because it's just strictly there to separate my property from the Bowers property because they barbecue back there and you don't want us looking at them and they don't want us, well, me looking at them. I don't, it doesn't affect the front of the house at all. It still has the pristine look that's there now. I sent pictures, if you look in the file, from the road, and you can't even tell there's a fence there. All you do is see the one post, and the Bowers have a big tree there that even covers that post.
Well, I was there today, and from my car, I could clearly see the fence.
On the right side, the left side, yes, not the
The
right side.
Right side also is visible. Marina, could you put the photograph down now? I want to get back to, I've got 2 things open on my screen. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't get to the application.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so Mark Harrington, are you there to make any comment?
Yes, I am. I think putting a fence up in the back, as I'm understanding what you're doing, putting this fence up in the back is certainly going to be a better alternative than either a chain link fence or doing nothing at all, given that the privacy concerns of the owner are important.
Mark, I'm sorry.
I will definitely I will definitely be putting a fence up, whether it's this wood one again, or I would prefer to do the vinyl for less care on my end.
Mark, this is a replacement. It's already an existing fence there. She wants to take the wood one down and put up a vinyl fence.
Well, this is falling down. I mean, if you touch it, it moves because the piers get all wet between my house and their house.
She's looking to replace the current wood fence with a vinyl fence. That's what, so the fence is just being replaced. Okay.
I see. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Jeff Pollock, do you have any comment?
Well, I'll chime in with my feelings on vinyl fences. Over the years, the plasticizers leave that material and it becomes brittle, becomes very brittle, especially in cold weather. So, that they're very easily knocked or moved in any way whatsoever, they shatter. So it's not an answer to everything. I realize what she's saying for sure. I mean, it's a real tough problem, but that it does have its problems. Finally,
Ms. Cook?
Yes.
I'm looking at a photograph here that's part of your application. A couple of chairs in front of a pool and a brown fence.
That's not me. That's not me. So I don't know whose file that is, but that's not my picture.
Okay, that helps.
Because I was looking
on that too.
I was looking for the photograph in your application that you mentioned, and I'm not seeing one.
Okay, I sent a series of 5 or 6 photographs to Steve, and he said my file was complete. So let me pull up my camera here.
I may have misunderstood, Ms. Cook. I thought that you said that there was a photograph of the type of fence you were planning to put in.
There's an actual brochure with the piece of the tile attached to the application that I gave Steve.
Okay.
And you can see that it almost looks like wood.
We can't get that on a Zoom meeting. We don't get those things unless we come in.
But let me just go back to the very basics. And I think Ms. Cook, Steve did let you know that we do not.
She said that's not her photograph. That's not what she wants.
That's not my photograph. That's not my pool. I don't know whose house that is.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
what
not
confused
mine.
me.
But is that the fence you intend to put in, is my
No.
question.
No.
Okay.
The fence I can't show it to you. I have the booklet here. The company is Buff Tech. And it's fence products made out of wood grain that looks like wood, but it's vinyl.
Right. Maria? Maria,
Yes.
this is the photo that came with your application.
No, that's not mine.
Yes, it is. This is your piece of vinyl right with your application.
Oh, that's the vinyl up there. I thought you were showing me that house. I don't know whose house that is. But
No.
that's my piece of vinyl up there.
Yeah, it's just a gray color, but that's the fence itself, correct?
Oh.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say is this is not my house. That piece of my vinyl was attached to my picture, not this picture.
No,
So-
this is what came in your application. I have it right here. I have your original application. This
Okay.
piece was taped to this picture with your application.
No, sir, I'm sorry, Steve, it's not. I know what I taped it to. We taped it, the contractor from New York Fence and I taped it to his perspective.
Ma'am, this is exactly with your original application. I have it in my
Okay.
hand. It's been in the folder since the day I got it.
Okay, that's not my house or my fence. That's
No,
what I'm trying to say. to you.
we understand that it's not your house and
Okay.
that is not your fence. What we were asking is that the fence type? Right now, the fence you have has a scalloped top. The
This will
posts
have a flat,
pointed
this will have a
finials.
flat, this will have a flat like the one that you're showing me.
Okay, that was the question. That was what was confusing us.
Okay, there's no lattice or anything. It's strictly flat. It looks like this fence only flat where they can't chew at the piers.
Well,
Only,
it doesn't look just like your fence because your fence right now is board on board and the boards are on opposite sides of rails.
Yes,
And
yes,
it's also scalloped. And the
yes,
posts have a finial, which is pointed, which is
Right.
not.
Yeah.
So the fence you're proposing is not just like the fence you have.
no, what I meant is it's the length of the fence. I mean,
Right. No, I
It's
get
totally-
that.
okay,
I get that. We're dealing in the visual aspects of the
okay,
fence material itself. Okay.
okay,
Thank you for helping to clarify my understanding.
okay.
Okay, so, Ginny, do you have?
May I
any other-
ask him, sorry.
Who's this, Mark?
Yeah, no, go ahead, please.
Well, I was just going through the board. I was just wanting to see if Ginny wanted to ask any other questions or had any other comments.
No,
Okay,
I,
all right. Go
well,
ahead.
what confuses me a little bit is that if the problem, and I'm familiar with the problem from another house I had, with squirrels gnawing away at the base of the fence. I understand that. Been there, seen it, done it. But what we did, which worked out rather well, was just to put a concrete footing around that and have it go up maybe 2 inches above what above the line with the soil that you've got. And so I'm unclear why we would want to kill a nice wood fence when there's a different problem to the solution. I'm sorry, a different solution to the problem. So tell me what I'm missing here.
You're not missing anything. There are at each pier where each section of the fence is, it is set in concrete. The ones with the points, all of those are set
Yeah.
in concrete. And whether I get to replace it with a vinyl fence, I would like permission to replace the fence, even if I have to go with wood. But I do need a new fence. If you touch the piers, they're falling down. I mean, it's very loose. It's just not stable anymore. So I do need a new fence.
This is Lisa Cobe. I was at the property today, and I agree with you. You do need a new fence. I think that there's a lot more going on that side of the fence than just the fence. The rotting at the bottom, there is significant water issues. You
Which
need
comes
it.
from the other property, and I don't know how to rectify that. Every time it rains, it floods all along the Bowers property line.
I mean, I walked on that in my teacher's season, so anything there is going to be wobbly because there's nothing holding that down.
No,
So
I know.
So I think that that's something that's going to need to be addressed before you even spend money on doing that fence. You're going to have to really figure out how you're going to have that placed. Secondly, you've got the wood in the back, which will not change. That's going to have to stay consistent. And preservation it's not just about the house structure, it's about the property. So we look at everything, yeah. So traditionally in our code and in the Secretary for Interiors, we seldom, almost ever, will give a replacement of vinyl fencing for wood. And to tell you the truth, I was there today and that fence is absolutely beautiful and it is very well seen. I mean, I walked, remember, we're not just looking at the straight on house. We're walking, when you're walking down the street, you can see the fence from the side when you're walking, and then you make a U-turn to come back down because you're at a dead end. You see all the fencing on the other side.
Oh, the whole left side, you see the entire fence. Yeah.
But you're saying that if you get the vinyl on one side, you're going to want to do it on the other. So I'm saying that you can see both sides. So it's not going to be, it for sure won't be approved on the other side. So
I understand that. Okay.
Where we're coming from. Unless anybody else has any comments, I would like to take this, I'd like to make a motion to put this to vote.
I would like to just make one further comment. I pulled up the section in our rehabilitation standards, the design standards for the Village of Pittsford, page 80 of the standards, under materials. Appropriate fencing materials include wood, wrought iron, cast iron, and in some cases aluminum if it simulates the appearance of wrought iron. Next paragraph. Vinyl fencing materials are not permitted because their appearance is not compatible with a village's historic district. Typically, vinyl fence components are hollow with steel bar reinforcement inside rails. Durability and panel sagging can be long-term issues with vinyl fences.
Thank you for that, Ginny. So if we are okay, I'm going to make a motion at the meeting of the HPB on Monday, June 14th, 2021. The following motion was made. I'd like to make a motion that the HPB deny the application for a vinyl fence made by Maria Cook at the property at 29 Washington Ave. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second.
May I ask a question?
Yes, Maria.
Do I have permission to replace this fence, or do I have to go back again if I replace it with the same exact fence except a flat top like the one that my little piece was attached to?
You're going to need to come back again and give us another application with exactly what you want to do.
Even if it's to put the exact same fence that's here, just to replace it?
If it's going to be replaced exactly with the same material, the same design, meaning that the forward, backward, the scallop, everything, if it's going to look exactly.
No,
then,
it would not be scalloped. I would want it flat so the squirrels can't eat it.
Okay, so yes, it would have to come back to us.
Alternatively, we can leave the application open if Ms. Cook has a sense of how the board is leaning in terms of this particular fence.
That would help me tremendously rather than have to do this paperwork all over again. I will meet with New York Fence again and see what they can come up with, but it will look kind of like where you have my sample attached that Steve said I presented, the flat top like that, so that the squirrels cannot chew it. So we have like a border at the top.
I guess the difference, so can you clarify that for me, Jeff, because I'm kind of confused. She's asking to change the design and the materials of her original application. So when you say leave it open, she's still gonna have to come back the next meeting, correct? Okay,
Yes.
so,
Yes, yes.
so.
Yeah.
so, Okay. All right, so it's just a time difference, but she's gonna have to
Yes.
all new information.
I will come back with a new proposal from New York Fence showing the wood fence.
Okay.
But with kind of like the picture that Steve has with my sample on it, only it, and it would be a flat top rather than the scallop so that they can't chew it.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, that would be fine. So we can certainly keep that open for you, Maria. Would you like us to do that?
So the application would stay as is and I just come back with new material.
And yeah, and design, make sure that we've got a picture of the design, and yes, that would be
Okay.
fine. And
Okay,
if, even Marina, if you would please include the information here on the photos of the before pictures, that would probably save us some time as well. So just make sure that's included in the new one, okay? All right.
But I'd like to make one more comment to Ms. Cook. If you're having issues with drainage on your property line, you might want to call a landscaper or landscape architect, because there are things that you can do to improve that. And additionally, your next door neighbor is not legally allowed to let his stormwater run off onto your property, as far as I know. So that if their yard is higher at the fence line than yours,
theirs is lower, mine is higher. So mine's running off there and it's settling in between the two properties. But I have had my landscaper meet
Okay.
here and they are addressing the issue.
okay, great.
I'm not gonna put a fence back and have the same thing happen again.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
Lisa is correct. You have more going on than the fence rotting. And if
Exactly.
you have a water issue, you need to deal with that before new fencing goes in, no matter, regardless of the material.
I agree. I agree. Why put money into it if it's not gonna,
Right.
this is gonna happen. I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
We look forward to hearing it again. Okay,
Okay, so my application stays open and I just have to bring you new design.
yes. Work with
Okay.
Steve. Okay?
Okay, okay, thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Good night. Bye.
We have a comment in chat from Miss Peggy
Yeah,
Brzee.
look, no. We're,
No?
well, I don't know, you can take it, but I mean, the application's staying open. I don't know, it's up to you. I'm not a member of the board.
Okay, go ahead, Peggy.
Let's
What
hear
do-
it.
Should stay open.
The comment says she wonders if the water problem is worsened by the parking lot at SCC.
Bagel Community Center.
Okay, well, that's not something that we're gonna, that's not our jurisdiction. So the applicant will be looking into the water issues with her private landscape company and she'll figure that out. Okay. Thank you, Peggy, for your input. Okay, so we've got 3 minutes to approve. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes from 4:12, from 5:10, and from 5:17, which were included in the packet?
I have.
Okay, does anybody want some time right now? Just scan those over before we make a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Who is that?
So move what?
So move, we approve the minutes.
Oh, that's,
Well, I'd like to make a comment on the April meeting minutes.
okay,
And that is that I don't think that the minutes that are favoring the replacement of windows at 44 Lincoln Avenue accurately reflect the situation, in my opinion.
so you're saying the findings and facts, Ken?
No, I'm stating that the testimony, did not really accurately reflect the situation and how it could be addressed, in my opinion.
But the
So-
minutes,
Right, the minutes are basically just a documentation of what was said, but you're saying that they've got thoughts that are not represented. But they weren't expressed at time, or you're saying express them, but they
I
weren't.
think it's what was said. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I don't think it reflects what could be done to what the actual situation was and how it could be remediated.
Well, minutes are really basically just a documentation of what was actually said at the meeting. It's not thoughts. So unless the thoughts were put into words, the minutes can't reflect that. So
I utilize the recording and the transcript when I'm writing the minutes. It's an exact reflection of the conversations that you were had. I do not lean any way towards the applicant or towards the board. All I do is reflect the conversations that were had.
right. So I know what you're saying, Ken. I think that there's some emotion that went along with that application, but the minutes are basically just what was stated, what was said that is recorded. That's all that the minutes are. So I would say that your findings, in fact, maybe that's where you might have to make a documentation.
There are no findings of fact attached to this application because I refuse to make any.
Ah, okay, so.
But they are being drafted by Bill McBride and myself, and they can be added anytime.
So Ken probably would like to see that before he votes. Is that correct, Ken?
Correct.
Okay, so
Those
You-
findings of fact will be in support of the decision.
I'd still like to see them.
Of course,
Well-
they're not going to be adopted by the board until they've been seen by the board.
okay, so then should we hold off on the April? We can hold off on the April
You do-
approval.
You do not need to do that. Those minutes or those findings could be added at any point to the record.
Well, the other thing too, Ken, is you can always abstain if you don't feel comfortable voting for those minutes on April 12th.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so that's it. That's your prerogative. We can do that as well. Okay, thank you very much, Ken. I understand where you're. Okay, so do we have to do separately, make a motion separately? Why don't we do that? I'm gonna
There
make
is a motion on the floor, I believe, to approve the minutes.
So
If
Jeff,
there's-
you combined all of them together.
Lisa, you might want to speak into your mic a little bit closer. You're breaking up quite a bit.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Can
that's
you-
better.
Okay, so it sounds like, Jeff, you have a motion on the table. In respect of Ken's statement, can we separate the April 12th meeting minutes and make that a separate motion?
Sure.
Okay, so do you want to make that motion for the April 12th minutes? So making a motion to accept the minutes from April 12th, 2021.
Yeah, I make that motion to accept those minutes as documented.
Okay,
Lisa,
Okay.
you weren't there? You weren't there, were you, Lisa?
No, Lisa was not there.
you're right. Okay, I've got to abstain too. Okay.
Not for, whatever that date was, April 12th.
You're right. I was not there. So
And
I
just to sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
Marina, go ahead.
I just want to clarify with Jeff, 3 members voting is a quorum, correct? If Lisa and Ken abstain, we have Mark, Jeff, and Virginia.
That is correct. I was just pointing out that Lisa can't second the motion.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so does somebody want a second?
I'm gonna hang with Ken on this.
Okay.
I'm not
So we
gonna
wait,
second, but I'll
so-
vote.
What?
I'm not gonna second, but I will vote. Someone else will have to second.
Mark Harrington, do you want to second this? Did Mark Harrington leave?
I don't
It
think
looks like
so.
he's on and unmuted. I'm not sure.
I'm so
where-
sorry. I'm sorry. I was in a bad area. Go ahead, please.
So we're trying to approve the
The
minutes.
answer was yes. Yes, I second that.
Marina-
Okay, Member Searle, how do you vote?
Is Bill still here? No, Bill has left. All right, yes.
Okay, Member Harrington
Yes.
and Member Pollock.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Marina, you have to go through the rest of the board members.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So they may abstain. Lisa may abstain because she wasn't there. Ken or may or may not abstain. It's up to him.
All right, then, Member Morrow, how do you vote?
I abstain.
Okay, and Member Cove, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so I am going to make a motion to approve the minutes from and 5:17. So that 5:17 minutes, that was that extra meeting that we had earlier. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Wait, we have 5:10?
5:10 and 5:17.
5:17. You said,
Yeah.
5:10
Oh,
was
are
the
you,
special
oh,
meeting.
you're going to motion them together?
Yeah, because, yeah, I mean, the only reason why I separated that before is because I knew that Ken was going to abstain and I wanted to give the other.
I'll tell you what, why don't we, for cleanliness and to avoid those similar situations in the future, just do them one at a time.
Yep.
All right. So I make a motion to approve the minutes from 5:10:21. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second.
Okay, Morrow seconding, Member Searle,
Yes.
Member Pollock,
yes.
Member Harrington,
Yes.
Member Morrow,
Yes.
and Chairperson Cove.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from 5:17:2021. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Member Morrow,
Wait, I thought we just approved those.
No, 5:17. This was our special meeting we had.
Week later.
Oh, okay. So where are we voting?
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
okay, Member Pollock,
Yes.
Member Harrington,
Yes.
Member Searle,
Yes.
and Chairperson Cove.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
So I have two member items quickly. I just want to, I'm hoping that this is the appropriate scenario. So Jeff, you can warn me if I'm not speaking in the correct venue. So I was at the house that we were doing the fence application, the Mrs. Cook's house or Miss Cook's house. And I noticed that the solar paneled house that we approved solar panels on next door has removed a gigantic tree. Did you see that, Steve?
Has removed, has removed what, Lisa?
Clever. Huh.
Yeah.
Very, very big.
Jesus.
I can't hear her. Everybody's talking.
Okay, I had noticed that there was a very large tree removed right in front of that house, the solar panel house.
We have no tree ordinance.
Okay, so my concern is that, you know, they assured us that the panels that they were putting on there were appropriate in the place of the house to get the appropriate sun. And I speculate that they were doing their evaluation now that they've been up for a year or so and realized that that tree was blocking some of their sun from the morning. And it
Yep.
really bothers me to think that if we start approving solar roofs, that we're gonna start giving people the abilities to take trees down because they're blocking their solar ability. So I'm just making a
Yeah.
statement about that. That's very bothersome to me.
Yeah,
I noticed the same thing.
I understand it, but we have no, and I've discussed this, I discussed it with the former mayor many times about having a tree ordinance in a historical preservation district. It's something that should be addressed because there's no reason anybody can't chop every tree out of their yard. That's, I mean, I have no jurisdiction over that.
Right. Okay.
Additionally, Lisa, solar access was a big issue when I was doing solar architecture in 1980. So that it's not a new thing. And in California, I'm not certain, Mark, you used to live in California maybe?
Yes.
Where they're trying to use solar collectors on a large scale, buildings have to be designed so that they're not casting shadows on their neighbors' collectors. So solar
Yep.
access, and that includes trees, is a real problem for designers, but also for preservation. So I agree with Steve. I think a tree ordinance would be an excellent thing, but it's not something for the preservation board to address, I don't believe.
I agree. However, I do think that it does change the character of the street line. I mean, we start taking down all these quaint streets.
Can I
Well,
make a
wasn't-
suggestion? Can I
Yes,
make? I would suggest that it would be perfectly appropriate for the HPV to address a letter to the Board of Trustees outlining the HPB's concerns and supporting a request for a tree ordinance.
Yeah,
That's a
Lee-
perfectly appropriate course of
Okay.
action for this board to take.
okay, great.
Lisa?
you bet.
Lisa, was the tree at the sidewalk? Was it a village tree? Is what I'm asking. You may
Um,
not- you may
it
or
was-
not be aware, but the trees that are in the area between the outside edge of the street side of the sidewalk and the street are village trees, and you're not actually allowed to take them down.
No, it was on the sidewalk
Okay.
towards,
Okay. Definitely on their property.
okay. All right, well, thank you, Jeff. I will move forward on that and
Yeah,
formulate a letter. And I'll send that to the rest of the board so that you guys can approve that and then we can sign it as a board, okay?
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then last but not least, I have been walking the village and have been specifically looking for basement window glass block. And I can't tell you how much glass block I have seen. And I don't know how it came about, but there is so much glass block in windows in the village that I am just beside myself. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I mean, almost the fourth house that I walked the village the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, here's another one. So, I know that we've had glass block before us that we've denied. And I don't know where it came from. There's nothing we could do about it, but it's gonna be an issue.
Just so everybody knows, 36 Monroe is yanking their glass block.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Cliccio and I said, look, you can come before the board, but you're gonna end up ripping them out. So he said, I'm just gonna take it upon myself to, the contractor had done it, and he said, I'll just take it upon myself, pull them out and put in traditional windows.
Great.
Oh,
All right.
wonderful.
Best solution possible.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. That's all I have to say.
Hold on. There's another member item on here.
Oh, there is?
It got taken off, Jeff, for now.
You did? I
Yes,
did.
yes.
I apologize. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Steve, about that.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if I can make this statement, but I did get the letter from Rand Place about the siding change. They're gonna be doing the wood siding as per our suggestion and request. And I sent them a thank you letter as per Ginny's suggestion,
Oh, thank you.
thanking them,
Mr. Gluckman, yeah.
thanking them for using the wood instead of something else. So, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay. So
So
does
we
anyone
need
else to say before I make a motion to end the meeting?
Second,
Okay, so I make a motion to end tonight's meeting. Do I have a second?
I gave you a second.
Okay, you're right on it. Thank you.
Member Harrington,
All in favor.
okay, Member Searle,
Yep.
Member Morrow,
Yes.
Member Pollock,
Yeah, burr.
and Chairperson Cove.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Good night, everyone.
Night,
Good
all.
evening, everyone.
Good night.
Right.